show. Sat Sri Akal ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ join ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ live on KTV and Sky 771. Got a very interesting program and very interesting question for you. So ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ viewers ਆ ਬਹੁਤ ਟੈਲੀਫੋਨ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਆ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆ ਸੋ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰੀਏ ਅੱਜ ਟੈਲੀਫੋਨ ਕਰੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੇ ਦੱਸੋ ਵੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਇਜ਼ ਦ ਓਬਵੀਅਸਲੀ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਆ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਆ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੰਗੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਮਝਦੇ that they understand and they are phoning in droves saying what a great show it is because obviously they understand. So if you want the show to continue in English and you like the current format then please phone in. This is a chance for you to shape what we're doing in this show and in other programs that we show on KTV because at the end of the day you know these stations whether it's ours or anybody else wouldn't exist if it wasn't for you. So ਤੁਸੀਂ program ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ TV station ਆ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸੋ ਭਈ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਜੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਹੋਵੇ right because we can't carry on doing the same thing. So one of the other things obviously is that what's happening, and I'm going to say this in English, is that we have a lot of non-Punjabi speaking viewers now. So ਕਈ ਬੰਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ TV show ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਗੁਜਰਾਤੀ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਉਰਦੂ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ language ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ so in the last 3 days I've spoken to 3 people and one of them is a neighbour of mine Vijay Patel. Vijay, if you're watching, good evening, thank you for the feedback, I really appreciate it. So Vijay, the language is Gujarati. He lives in Leicester. He's a former mayor of Leicester. So बहुत ही खूब हस्ती है. He's a lovely gentleman. And ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ show ਬਹੁਤ enjoy ਕਰਦਾ. So obviously if the show was broadcast in Punjabi, then Vijay wouldn't understand. And last week we had the good fortune of having my good friend Dr. Sachin Nachani, who's again, you know, Angrezi samajhde but his language is Gujarati, as is Atul Lakhani, who's been on the show a few times. So, you know, it's not an easy ask just to switch over be sari show up Punjabi ch karan lag paiye. And so there's lots of people that wouldn't understand the show and then we wouldn't have this audience. Aaj meri meeting si bahut hi purana mera dost Richard Brady, good friend of mine, and ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰੀ show ਦੇਖਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਨਾ so obviously again if it was in Punjabi we couldn't do that. So ਅਸੀਂ phone lines ਖੋਲਣੀਆਂ ਅੱਜ to discuss this topic and what kind of show you would like to have in the future. ਬਾਕੀ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਚੈਨਲ ਤੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਾਈਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਾਈਕ ਕਰਦੇ then what is that show going to be? The other thing is I'm going to be introducing something that we want to do and calling out all businesses that want to come and talk about the area of expertise that they got. So if they have, you know, for instance, if you're in property, which is, you know, my field, if you have a particular expertise and you want to talk about that and at the same time talk about your business, you know, we can have a conversation about coming onto the show and talking about that kind of thing because what we want to do is ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੀ audience here, we want to educate people that once they've watched the show that they go away with something that they've learned from the show, something that's useful. So what I've been trying to do, and it's been very successful, is bring forward people that are making great contributions, and we've got some great guests lined up for the future of this show. And indeed some very prominent people are now coming forward and saying that they'd like to be on the show because you know when we started 6 months ago it was an unproven format. ਆਪਣੇ Indian TV station ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ show ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗੀ that is about you know local people only in this country. A lot of these TV stations concentrate on what's happening in India. So our idea was that, you know, we live in this country, this is where our home is, we need to interact with all communities, we're a multi-racial society, and that's the way we want it to be. So it's been a great experiment, and you know, we've been very, very happy with what's going on. It's your chance to get your views across. We've had a few of these phone-in shows before and been very interesting ਜੋ ਕੁਛ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ views ਆ I really want to hear today ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ show ਕਾਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਆ So one of the questions we had last week was ਵੀ ਫੋਨ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸੋ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਵੀ show ਕਾਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਆ So ਅੱਜ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖੁਦ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ but those of you that really have only started tuning in to this channel because of this show, because we get an awful lot of people that just watch this show and they don't really watch anything else because maybe there's a language barrier. You know, if your first language isn't Punjabi, then you wouldn't be watching this channel. But having said that, there's, you know, hundreds of TV stations, but we want to cater for our community and those people that we really care about and want to watch these types of shows. So I'm going to open the phone lines. So the number should be flashing up on screen anytime now. And if you want to start booking the calls and get dialing and get my team up, and we can have a phone in with you today, which is going to be the most interesting. And I'm happy to open myself up to any questions that you guys have. Good business good question about general knowledge, etc. Whatever I can answer, I will. I will do that. And I'm not afraid of answering any of those questions that you have for me, as long as they're polite and legal, obviously. So we are going to open those phone lines very, very soon. So if you start dialing in, and then we can have a show that's for you, by you. And we've got some ideas for new shows that we want to bring to you. And again, I'd like you to shape that and give us the input that we require, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's a joint effort. It's a community station. And we can then really shape the future of the output that we bring you, simply because you are active in this. There's thousands and thousands of people that watch the show. Goes out to the station goes out to over 100 countries, which is an incredible achievement for a station based in West Bromwich. But you know, we are proud of what we're doing and what we're trying to achieve right now. So, but at the same time, you know, feedback's important, and you know, we want to be held accountable. We want you to have an input into what we do and have a direct bearing. So, you know, get those calls in and talk to us about what it is that you're looking to achieve. So in the past, we've had some very interesting views in terms of what people are learning from the show and the type of guests that we've had on the show. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਸੰਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਟੋਰੀਆਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਈਆਂ ਬੜੀ ਘਰੇਲੂ ਟਾਈਪ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਟੋਰੀਆਂ ਆਈਆਂ ਆ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਸਟੋਰੀਆਂ ਦੱਸੀ ਵੀ how we balance things. So we've got our calls are beginning to come through, so I'll take the first one of those. And so hello. Live shows are hello. Hello there.
Hi, I'd like to participate in the
of course.
in the phone call, please.
Well, you're live now, so you're participating already.
Sorry?
You are live and you're participating already.
Oh right, sorry. I didn't understand that.
No problem.
Oh, yeah.
What's your name?
My name is Dipti Chauhan.
Hi Dipti, how are you doing?
I'm alright, thank you. How are you?
Good. You enjoying the show?
I am indeed, yes, I love them.
Just tell me a little bit, Dipti, so how long have you been watching the show? Do you watch it live or do you watch it on the reruns?
Sometimes it's live, depending on work and everything, and lots of the time it's on the reruns,
Okay.
Which I like better because I can go back to and refer back to things as well.
Okay. So tell me what you like about the show, and obviously from your name I gather that Punjabi isn't a language that you speak and understand.
No, I don't. I'm Gujarati, and my English is very good. My Gujarati is very good. Hindi is okay. Punjabi is not very good, but I just love the fact that you have such a wide variety of people coming on, and the fact that you're highlighting a lot of our issues. You know, which we all face every day, and it's addressing those issues, and that's what I love about the show.
Okay, so what if I can summarize for our viewers? So you like the variety of the individuals that we've had on as guests.
Yeah.
You feel that the issues that we're addressing are real and those that the wider community faces.
Yeah.
Right. So it's Asian life in Britain, isn't it? This is our home.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about yourself. Were you born here, or did you emigrate with your family?
No, I was born in Kenya. I came over when I was about 2 or 3 years old, and I was educated here fully. I've lived here, my nursery, junior, secondary school, educated here, married here, children born here, and, this is my home. Although I love everything about India, this I consider as my home, and in fact, my first language is English because, we use it at work, kids use it at school. And I am ashamed to say that we don't use our languages often enough, but it's just part and parcel of life. But I'm still an Asian background person living in the UK, and although I love it, we still have issues, and I encountered them when I was younger, and I fought for it all my life, and it's just nice to see that somebody is still addressing them because it still happens.
Yes, they haven't gone away, have they?
They haven't, no.
Okay, so obviously, you'd like this program to continue in English, I would think?
Yes.
Good. Me too.
But it's good for learning Punjabi as well, because I can pick up a little bit more now. So, it's good for everything, for learning Punjabi as well as highlighting a lot of our issues. And English, because the kids can understand it a little bit more. Like my kids, I speak English a lot of the time, although they do understand Gujarati and Hindi. They pick up a lot on the TV programs that we watch, and so it's good for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts, I share your thoughts because I come from Leicester, a very multicultural city.
Yes.
We've got, it's a real melting pot of different communities. And, English is the most common language that we can all communicate in. I speak Hindi very well in terms of, my spoken Hindi, and you guys have heard my Punjabi. So, but at the same time, I think it's a language that that unites us even as Asians, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So, anything else you'd like to add? Tell us what you do, a little bit about you, Dipti.
Because of COVID, me and my husband started off a property business.
Mm-hmm.
It's the pandemic hit us quite, not in a bad way, but we used it as a tool to better ourselves and do something that we wanted. We didn't take it as a negative that my husband got made redundant. And I'd been made redundant the year before, so we use it as an opportunity rather than as a negative. So as sad as it is with everything that's going on, there's a lot of people that benefit from it as well. So it's enlightened people into doing something that they've always wanted to do, and so that's what we've done as well.
That's brilliant. So during the pandemic, you've used the opportunity of having more time at home to start your own property business.
Yes.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'd love to hear from anybody else that started business, by the way, during the pandemic, because it's been a great opportunity or it's been the worst time of your life, whichever way you want to do it. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show.
Please continue the good work in highlighting all of our issues, because it really is a pleasure to watch.
Thank you so much. That's lovely. Thank you. So there you go, guys. Get those calls. Dipti was saying that she likes the fact that we're addressing issues that are facing us as a community in the UK. And they're very different to, obviously the issues that we have from coming from India. And then as an Asian community, not only पे आप India तो आए हो, Africa तो भी बहुत अपने बंदे आए हुआ, Pakistan तो आए हुआ, and other countries. But, without dwelling on that, let's take our next caller. So let's see who we have. Hello.
Hello, ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ।
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਭਾਜੀ, ਕੀ ਹਾਲ ਚਾਲ ਜੀ?
ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਹੀ ਆ ਜੀ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਭਾਜੀ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ, ਮੈਂ ਲੈਸਟਰ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਬੋਲਦਾ ਮੈਂ।
ਅੱਛਾ ਜੀ।
ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਸੋਹਣਾ, ਜਿੰਨੀ ਤਾਰੀਫ ਕਰੀਏ ਓਨੀ ਥੋੜੀ।
ਸ਼ੁਕਰੀਆ ਜੀ, ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ।
ਹਾਂ, ਮੈਂ ਕਈ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਾਂ ਚ ਮੈਂ ਲਾਈਵ ਵੀ ਆਉਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਲੁਧਿਆਣੇ ਦਾ ਜੰਪਲ ਹਾਂ, ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਦਾ ਦਿਨ ਮੇਰਾ ਜਨਮ ਦਿਨ ਹੈ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਈ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਾਤਰੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਸਾਡੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਰਹਿਣੀ ਵੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ
ਜੀ।
ਪਰ ਆ ਇੱਕ ਚੈਨਲ ਐਸਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਰਲਡ ਦੇ ਬੰਦੇ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਗੋਰੇ ਵੀ ਨੇ, ਗੁਜਰਾਤੀ ਵੀ ਨੇ, ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਵੀ ਨੇ, ਬਹੁਤ ਲੋਕ ਲਾਈਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਦੇਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਪਰ ਅਗਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਸਮਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਏਗੀ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਗੇ? ਖਾਲੀ ਫੋਟੋ ਲਿਖੀ ਜਾਣਗੇ, ਬੋਲ ਦੇਵੇ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀ, ਦੇਖਣਗੇ ਹੀ ਨਾ ਟੀਵੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੋਰ ਚੈਨਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਆ।
ਅੱਛਾ, ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਹੈ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਜਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਰ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਨਾ ਥੱਲੇ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਟ ਕਰੋ, ਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਕੋਈ ਐਸੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਅੱਜ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਹ ਸੇਮ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਵੇ।
ਓਕੇ।
ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤਾਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਾਤਰੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਲੋਕੀ ਗੋਰੇ ਵੀ, ਗੁਜਰਾਤੀ ਵੀ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਉਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਦੇਖਣ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ।
ਯੈਸ। ਔਰ ਭਾਜੀ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬਹੁਤ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਹੈ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਂ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਲਾਉਣਾ ਆ,
ਹਾਂਜੀ,
ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਰਲਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਸਮਝਣ।
ਹਾਂ, ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਸਮਝਣਗੇ ਜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਮਝਾਓਗੇ
ਜੀ।
ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਕਿਸੇ ਗੋਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਦੱਸਾਂਗੇ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਵਿਚਾਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ। ਹੁਣ ਗੋਰੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿੱਖਦੇ ਵੀ ਪਏ ਨੇ, ਬੋਲਦੇ ਵੀ ਪਏ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਟੀਵੀ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਪਿਆ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਹਰ ਗੋਰਾ ਦੇਖੇ, ਹਰ ਕਾਲਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇਖਣ, ਸਮਝਣ ਕਿ ਬੰਦੇ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਏ ਨੇ।
ਹਾਂ ਜੀ, ਆਪਣੇ ਗੋਰੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਿ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ
ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਟੀਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖਦਾ, ਮੈਂ ਨਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ, ਪਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਟੀਵੀ ਇੰਨਾ ਟੌਪ ਦਾ ਨਾ, ਜਿੰਨਾ ਤਾਰੀਫ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿਣ ਨੂੰ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀ, ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਭਾਜੀ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਫੋਨ ਕੀਤਾ। ਲੈਸਟਰ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ?
ਮੈਂ ਲੈਸਟਰ ਰਹਿਣਾ, ਮੇਰੇ ਡੈਡੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਰਿਪੋਰਟਰ ਸੀ, ਮੈਂ ਲੁਧਿਆਣੇ ਦਾ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਾ।
ਅੱਛਾ ਜੀ।
ਮੇਰੇ ਡੈਡੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਰਿਪੋਰਟਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਅਖਬਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਲੁਧਿਆਣੇ ਵਿੱਚ
ਜੀ,
ਤੇ ਮੈਂ 87 ਉੱਤੇ ਆਇਆ ਹੋਇਆ। ਦਾਖਲਾ ਕਦੀ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਸੇਵਾ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੇਰੋ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੌਕ ਹੈਗਾ।
ਅੱਛਾ ਜੀ।
ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਨਾਈਸ ਵਿਊ ਵਾਲਾ ਬੰਦਾ। ਕਈ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਮੋਦੀ ਦੇ, ਕੈਪਟਨ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਮੈਂ ਬੋਲ ਸਕਦਾ, ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣਾ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਦੂਜਾ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਨਾ, ਕਦੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ।
ਅੱਛਾ ਜੀ, ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਸ਼ੁਕਰੀਆ ਭਾਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ ਮਚ। ਓਕੇ ਜੀ, ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਬੜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਗੱਲ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਆ ਸਾਡੀ, ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿਰਫ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਆ, ਅਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿਰਫ ਆਪਾਂ ਬੰਦੇ ਸੁਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੇ ਹੋਰ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਥੋਟਸ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਖਿਆਲ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਪਰੈਡ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ, ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਗੈਸਟ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਵੀ ਆ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੈਂ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਕਹਿ ਚੁੱਕਾ, ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣੇ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਗੈਸਟ ਵੀ ਆਏ ਆ, ਗੁਜਰਾਤੀ ਸਪੀਕਿੰਗ ਗੈਸਟ ਵੀ ਆਏ ਆ, ਉਰਦੂ ਸਪੀਕਿੰਗ ਗੈਸਟ ਵੀ ਆਏ ਆ, ਅਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਭਈ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਫਸਟ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਨਹੀਂ, ਸੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤਾਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਦੂਸਰੀ ਭਾਈ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੋਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਆ ਭਈ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਚਾਂਸ ਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ ਬੋਲ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਭਈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਚੀਜ਼ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ, ਬਾਹਰਲੇ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਕੰਮ ਆ ਆਪਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ, ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਨਾਲ ਲਿਜਾਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਸਾਡੇ ਮਮ ਡੈਡ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰੀਏ। ਸੋ ਇੱਕ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਡਿਸੇਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਆ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਉਹਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਪੈਣੀ ਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮਦਰ ਟੰਗ ਇਸ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਦੀ ਉਹੀ ਆ। ਸੋ ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਵਾਟ ਗੋਜ਼, ਹੈ ਨਾ। ਸੋ ਭਾਜੀ ਇਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਹਰੇਕ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਦੇਖ ਰਿਹਾ। ਸੋ ਦੈਟਸ ਦ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਕਮਿੰਗ ਥਰੂ ਨਾਓ ਇਜ਼, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੋਲ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਿਊਜ਼ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਜਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਏਅਰ 'ਤੇ ਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਦੈਟਸ ਫਾਈਨ। ਸੋ ਭਾਜੀ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬਹੁਤ ਮੈਂ ਲਾਈਕ ਕੀਤੀ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੀ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਸਬਟਾਈਟਲ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ, ਜਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਰੋ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਕਰੋ ਜਾਂ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਕਰੋ। ਸੇ ਇਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਸਹਿਮਤ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਬਾਅਦ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਸੁਣ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ। ਐਟ ਦੀ ਐਂਡ ਆਫ ਦ ਡੇ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ TV station, it's for all of you. So if there's some youngsters out there for whom English is their first language, I'd really like to hear from you as to why you watch this show, because obviously, English I don't know. I think I'm truly bilingual. So, you know, I can think and speak in both languages and switch between the two. So it's not a difficulty for me. But ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ language ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਸੋਚ ਵੀ ਸਕਦਾ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ so ਇਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ problem ਨਹੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ but for those of you that struggle with Punjabi I'd love to hear from you because you need to get your views across. We don't want you know a one-sided opinion. So we'll see what happens in terms of how we progress and you know don't not have an opinion, don't not call in and then complain that what's happening is something that you don't like. So ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਫੋਨ ਕਰੋ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਉਣ ਚਾਂਸ ਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਲਾਹ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਸਮਝਾਂਗੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਜੋ ਕੁਛ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆ you want us to do what it is that we want to do. So get your calls coming in. I think there may be some technical issues. The team's waving to me, so if you can't get through, I want to apologise. But that's what happens live show. It doesn't always go the way we want it to go. So whilst we're sorting out those tech issues, I wanted to talk to you further about the COVID vaccination program that's going ahead. And we're approaching 25 million odd people that have been vaccinated so far through that program. And Dr. Nichani last week was saying that ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੀ community ਦੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ doubt ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਜੀ ਪਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਟੀਕੇ ਲਵਾਉਣੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਲਵਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ so I'm really pleased to report that the initial concerns that we had are now fading away. The other thing is that if you've got some concerns ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੋਈ ਬੰਦੇ medically ਨਹੀਂ qualified ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਪੁੱਛੋ what we should do. There's plenty of Indian, Gujarati, Punjabi, Urdu speaking doctors that we have and ask them if you're concerned about things apne doctor nu call karo or you got any health officials that you talk to. You speak to those people and ask them what their thoughts are about the pros and cons. ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਫਿਕਰ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੋ what it is that you know we need to do. So I had my vaccination jab on Friday and no real after effects, a little bit flu-y at the weekend. So मैं अपना टीका लवाया सी last Friday ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਇਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਾੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਠੰਡ ਲੱਗ ਰਹੀ ਆ but otherwise there's no effects whatsoever and absolutely fine and I'm waiting now for second jab in the next 4-5 weeks all ਲੱਗ ਜਾਊਗਾ. And we've talked previously about those of you that are skeptical. The talk of COVID style passports is now gathering pace, that we're going to have some kind of app-based system whereby you know the authorities will be able to know whether you've had your vaccination. And this idea of travel passports is the thing that is going to affect us most of all. So you won't be able to go on holiday, you won't be able to travel abroad, you won't be able to get on a plane, and it may be that the authorities in this country or the airlines may not let you on, or it may be that the country of destination where you're going to land won't let you land in that destination without proving the fact that you've had this vaccination done for you. So I don't want to keep labouring that point, but it is vitally important that we get these jabs done, we obey the lockdown. So obviously the kids have gone back to school and we've got a succession of easing up of the lockdown, provided that is that we have the R number continues to decline. So that's one thing that I really want to reiterate more and more to our community. So I'm going to do that in Punjabi now. So ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੀਕਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਵਾਇਆ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਫਿਕਰ ਹੈ ਕਿਸੇ ਗੱਲ ਬਾਰੇ ਪਈ ਜੇ ਟੀਕਾ ਲਵਾ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਆ ਸਕਦੀ ਆ ਆਪਣੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੋ. ਆਪਣੇ ਡਾਕਟਰਸ ਬਹੁਤ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਗੁਜਰਾਤੀ ਉਰਦੂ ਜਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜਸ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਬੰਦੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਕਰੋ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਰਾਈਟ. ਜੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਪਿੱਠ ਦੁਖਦੀ ਆ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੜੋਸੀ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਪਤਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਆ. So don't be asking this stuff, right? बहुत myths ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਜੀ ਆਹ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਜੀ ਬੱਚੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣੇ ਜੀ ਆਹ ਹੋ ਜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੋ ਜਾਣੀ ਆ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਮੈਡੀਕਲੀ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈਡ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਲਾਹ ਕਰੋ ਵੀ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਜੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਹ ਫਿਕਰ ਆ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਵੈਕਸੀਨ ਕਰਾ ਲਵਾਂਗਾ ਜਾਂ ਕਰਾ ਲਵਾਂਗੀ ਵੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਆਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਆ ਦੈਨ ਫਿਰ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਦੱਸੂਗਾ ਵੀ ਦਾ ਆਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਆ ਰਿਸਕ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਰਿਸਕ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂਗਾ on all of these things है ना ਜਿਹੜੀ conspiracy theories ਲੋਕੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਐਵੇਂ ਝੂਠੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਫੈਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹ ਕੋਈ ਪ੍ਰੂਫ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੈ ਨਾ so ਐਵੇਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ so we're going to go to another call now the team's back up so who we have on the line for us
hello yeah
hello there
hi I can hear you can you hear me
I can sir what's your name
Mr. Dale
Mr.
Dale
Dale how are you Mr. Dale
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Good. You enjoying the show?
Yeah, I think it's a good show generally, but I'm looking at questioning some of the points that are being made.
About?
The doctors advising people on COVID-19 and encouraging people to have their jabs.
Great.
The Public Health England leaflet.
What's your view?
No, I think at the end of the day, it's there for a reason, and people should make their decisions wisely.
Mm-hmm.
But they should also follow the written guidance that has been provided by Public Health England, which is a leaflet available to all, and also available free online.
Okay. Do you have a brief overview of what the government's guideline is?
Yeah, it's quite clear. It's saying quite clearly that the vaccine and the illness of COVID-19 will not affect the majority of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it says quite clearly on there, bear with me, let me just grab my file. It's saying quite clearly less than 1 person out of 100 will actually die from COVID-19.
Okay, so this is with or without the vaccine?
This is even if you get COVID-19 without the vaccine.
Yeah.
So if you've got COVID-19,
mm-hmm.
you haven't been vaccinated,
yeah,
and you get COVID-19, you have it's less than 1 person out of 100.
Yeah.
So as a percentage, what does that create as a percentage?
It's less than 1%, isn't it?
Yeah. So if we say less than 1%,
mm-hmm.
so would you agree 0.5, 0.2, 0.3? Yeah.
Well, it's somewhere that's less than 1%. Obviously, if it says it's less than, it could be 0.9 or it could be 0.1.
Correct. So if less than 1 person has a chance of dying after they get COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
Then doesn't that make 99.9% people safe, even if they get it?
Absolutely.
They will not die.
Absolutely.
Correct. And we need to be sharing these facts that have been written by Public England to ensure that people are getting the right information and not sort of worrying. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, if you've got underlying health issues and you're not sort of from the past, you're overweight, you've got obesity, you've got many other liver conditions, then yes, you're slightly at a higher risk than the normal person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, look, we are in our country. The number of people that have lost their lives officially, according to the government, is about 125,000.
Right. I spoke to Public Health England today,
mm-hmm.
and what they're saying is that although there's 120,000, that is including England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland is included.
Mm-hmm.
So if we take away those figures,
yeah,
it's just short of 100,000.
Okay.
And also, with these figures, we need to keep in mind that the people that have been calculated in the 100,000, some of them didn't die of COVID-19. They had other illnesses plus COVID-19. So if they didn't die with COVID, they died of.
Yeah.
So there's
Okay.
a difference, and this is not being explained. So if you die with something, you died with that as well as other things.
Sure.
But if you die of COVID, only COVID killed you.
Yes. Yes. Look, it's a great point, and I think that you make that, seek information, make a decision for yourself, right?
Sorry?
Make a decision for yourself whether you want to be vaccinated or not.
Yes, and just like I spoke to Public Health England today,
Yeah.
they're saying quite clearly, we are not forcing it upon you.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
Yeah. Do you agree?
This is not mandatory.
Yeah. Let's take away that side of it for 1 second. So
Okay.
do you think that there will be a system whereby you will not be able to fly without proving that you've been vaccinated?
I mean, look, it's a fluid situation. That means it's constantly being monitored.
Yeah.
I do believe they will introduce green cards, but I also do believe that it will be temporary and not long term. Because if you look at Israel, they've been given these cards. It's like a piece of paper with your details on. If it was permanently, it'd be going straight into your passport,
Sure.
like
sure.
a digital document. So if somebody said to you, you fly with this document, it's a piece of paper with your name and address on. If it was going to be permanent, that it would be electronically done in your passport.
Yeah, I understand Tony Blair had a hand in suggesting that this country would be at the spearhead of having an international standard of COVID passport, which has not gone through. That's probably due to the fact that it's a little bit early and countries simply are so busy getting over the pandemic that no standard's been agreed upon. Israel, I know, is leading the world at this moment in terms of vaccinating their population.
They've had the most vaccinations,
right?
correct?
So they are the model nation that everybody's looking at in terms of what happens. So
Correct.
so there's a lot of lessons to be learned from Israel, and most countries will probably follow suit of having some temporary document. I think our government is talking about an app-based system.
Yes.
Where you can prove that. System. So there's various. My thoughts. I'm a very pragmatic individual. So I don't want. Yeah, I don't want to be. I've not travelled out of this country for obviously last year and this year. So. And I'm somebody that probably goes about my business in terms of I'm out of the country 4 or 5 times a year as a norm. So I don't particularly want something like this to be stopping me from travelling. So
are you saying you're a frequent traveller and you don't agree that there should be a document to allow you to travel? Is that what you're saying?
No, I do not. I'm agnostic in either way, right? So that if my thoughts are that if there is a restriction on me travelling because I've not been vaccinated, then I'll get vaccinated because I want to travel. Travelling is more important to me.
So, but do you agree or do you disagree that if you don't get vaccinated, that should not harbour your chances of flying or going to another country? I know some countries have different decisions. I mean, I'm being told I've got to be in Miami September this year. I've got a passport, but I'm not vaccinated.
Okay.
Now, does that mean that without that vaccination, I can't travel? I don't believe that is fair, and I don't believe that you should be given. You should be treated like a non-subordinated individual that's not prepared to follow. Now, Public Health England said quite clearly to me today, if you're healthy, you look after yourself.
Yep.
You've got a strong immune system. You've got no underlying health issues. You don't need the vaccine.
Yep, we got that. So if you're healthy, the chances of you, even if you contract the disease, of dying are very, very low, less than 1%.
Because yes, as we said, 99.9%.
I've got that.
Will be
So
fine.
it's up to.
That's down to the figures.
It's
not my
up
figures.
to the government of the United States whether they let you in if you can't prove that you've been vaccinated or not. So it's like
they won't let you in. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's up to the government of the United States.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Right?
If the government say
you
you can't come in unless you're vaccinated, that's their regulations and their rules.
Yeah.
But we need to be mindful that a lot of these people who are under risk of COVID-19
Yeah.
are due to, I don't know if you're familiar with America and the amount of obesity in their country.
Well, we obesity is a program that we could do, you know, for hours and on end. And my views are, you know, probably very much aligned with yours. But tell me something. So we know that you know, that we should go and get information, decide upon ourselves, and then travel maybe restricted by countries of those that are not vaccinated. Then it's up to the individual whether they take the vaccine because they want to travel or they don't want to travel and they'd rather stay at home. And again, it's another choice, isn't it? Right? So I think our caller has gone. So thank you very much, Mr. Dale. Really appreciate your views about COVID and the number of people that do actually die from the disease. And he's saying it's less than 1% according to Public Health England. The only thing I would say to that is our government is spending billions and billions of pounds on making sure that they roll out this program to the public. At the end of the day, it's your choice. You know, whether you take it or not, we're a free country. But my thoughts are that if you are at risk, and the BAME community, that includes the Indians and the Pakistanis, you know, South Indians. We're in that group of people. We're more likely to contract the disease, and we're more likely to suffer fatalities. That's what figures are showing right now. So, you know, that is an issue that we cannot ignore. So again, you know, I'm not for or against. You make a decision as to whether you want to have this vaccine or not. So what we didn't get from Mr. Dale was whether he wanted the program in English or Indian. So, you know, he spoke in very fluent English, so I would say that he probably wouldn't mind. And so what are your views? I'm really interested in hearing from some younger people in terms of what their thoughts are in broadcasting on any channel, to be honest with you. You know, we have 5 or 6 different Punjabi stations. You know, should they all be broadcasting more programs in English? And should they all be addressing issues that are more UK based than we do currently, concentrating on, you know, issues much more on the subcontinent? The other thing, of course, is that we don't very often hear about programs that address issues in African nations. And there's a lot of Asian people that have not come from India. So, you know, let's take the fact that in Leicester, my hometown, and lots of parts of London, a large proportion of the Asian community comes from African countries. You know, we don't address those issues. And there is a reason why we have come into this country. And we're going to hear more from me on that after we take our next call. Hello?
Hello, Sat Sri Akal.
Sat Sri Akal Bhaji.
Sat Sri Akal ji, how are you, sir?
I'm very well. Ki naam tohada?
My name is Kirpal.
Kirpal. Sat Sri Akal ji. Kirpal Singh ji.
Sat Sri Akal.
Where are you calling from, Kirpal?
I'm calling from Birmingham, my friend. Most people know me as Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk of the Enterprise. Do you look like him?
More like a Klingon.
Oh, don't say things like that. Don't say things like that. Oh, do you have something called the Enterprise, or a ship or a car or something?
Well, my business used to be called Kirk Enterprises.
There you go. There you go. So now we know. So the question is Punjabi or English? Which way?
Well, what I was going to say, because I mean, I was born here in 1960, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And I learned Punjabi from my mum and dad, obviously from my mum more, yeah?
Yes.
And what I find, because I learned Punjabi, so when I travel, I like traveling like yourself quite a bit. And, you know, what I found was I can communicate with a lot more people, because you can communicate with people through speak Urdu, Hindi. Even I went to Sri Lanka, and people sort of down south of India, I could communicate with them just because I learned Punjabi after my mum and dad, like I said, and obviously English come fluently. So I was going to ask you a question because I love your show, to be honest with you. So I'd like to thank you for it, first of all.
You're welcome.
Thank you. What is it? I was going to ask you, well, what's my first language? Because I was born here. Is it Punjabi or is it English?
Yeah. Well, you probably, ਹੁਣ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ, you probably bilingual is what you want to be thinking about, because if you lean towards one language or the other, whether it's English or whether it's Punjabi or any other language for that matter, you would say, I speak English, but I can speak Punjabi or I can speak French or Spanish. But there's people like ourselves, you've spoken in it, Punjabi ch vi tusi gall kiti bahut soni, so you're probably truly bilingual as an individual. Do you find yourself speaking half of a sentence in Punjabi and the other half in English? Well,
yeah, what I find, because I write songs as well, and I find it makes it easier, if you know what I'm saying. It's when you're sort of stuck for words, if you like.
Do you write in Punjabi as well?
I write in Punjabi as well as English as well.
So you can read and write in Punjabi as well?
Well, I can't read that well in Punjabi. I can make the words up there.
Okay.
Because back in the 60s, there wasn't that many. There's no excuse now, though, having said that. But
okay.
I can speak fluent Punjabi as well. I think I can speak Punjabi better than I can speak English, to be honest with you.
Really? फिर आप पंजाबी च गल करिए हैं?
पंजाबी गल करते हैं यार, बहुत सारी.
अच्छा फिर हाँ जी.
मैं पता देखा यार, because what it is, when you do your shows.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, you break in from your sort of Punjabi into English. And even if ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਵੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਨਾ, right, you find a lot of people use a lot of words that are English words.
Of course.
And then we have like the youngsters, they might use so much 90% of English, and then about 5 or 10%, if you like, of Punjabi words.
Well, look, we're very fortunate, Hannah. One of the benefits of the British Raj was that they left English as a commercial language in India.
Yeah, the big influence in it all over the world.
Absolutely huge influence on our country for so long. And of course, English is probably the most widely spoken language, around. So if you can speak English, you can get by in most parts of the world. But the question gets asked at the show is that, a Punjabi TV station hai, Punjabi ch katon nahi show karte?
Haan.
So my answer to that has been answered by a few of the callers, is that we serve a wider community if you speak in English, and then the future of our country, our generation, our community are our youngsters. So what I think is that if they can have programs that they understand, as in this one in English, and we speak a little bit of Punjabi in it, well, that will encourage them to learn Punjabi, as well as being able to understand what's going on and seeing people in our own community who are doing some amazing work.
Yeah, it's like I was going to, if I can touch up on that, there's a song I done, Big Bad Boy.
Yeah.
It's Big Bad Boy Hatya.
Yeah.
And the Big Bad Boy is like a hook to hook the youngsters.
Yeah.
And then the Punjabi follows in. And then once you got these younger guys who know a bit of Punjabi, and obviously know what Big Bad Boy is.
Yeah.
And it's a good way of, you get what I mean, if somebody is interested in learning Punjabi as well.
Yeah.
And what I found even myself, that's how I learned a lot of Punjabi, because a lot of youngsters are influenced with music.
Yes. Yeah.
And I find music doesn't have a language. But I love the way you guys do your show, even when you have your sort of Western audience, Western guest on the show.
Yes.
Because you find even the Asian people, if they Urdu speaking, Hindi speaking, or whatever, they can relate to the English as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Even if they're in France or on the other side of the world.
So that's definitely
Punjabi. Punjabi.
Brilliant. So that's definitely a vote for English then, is it?
Sorry?
That's definitely a vote for English.
Well, I would say yes, obviously, because you got a lot of viewers that are like the older viewers.
Yeah.
And what I find, the older viewers, they can understand Punjabi.
Yes.
I mean English, sorry. They can understand English.
Yeah.
But they might not. They might struggle a little bit. Some of them, very little percentage, I would say, to speak the English sort of fluently, or there might be. You find youngsters like my grandchildren and all that. They can understand every word, but they feel a bit shy to speak the Punjabi as well.
Yeah.
So it works both ways.
We get all that. But listen,
and I find that with the older people and the younger people. You know, so I think I would say do some shows in Punjabi as well as other languages, because the channel goes out to the world.
Well, look, we're in 134 countries. Unfortunately, I've got to end this call with you because this is the end of another show. So thank you very much for calling in.
Don't forget to check the tracks, Beam Up the Pangrad School, all right?
Okay. Thank you so much. So, we've had varying views, and I'm really pleased that, for those of you that got through, and there's other people waiting, and, it is what it is. So thank you very much for tuning in. Next week we have a guest in the studio who is a very interesting character, and we talked about reaching across communities. His name is Michael Odendahl, and so Michael, if you're watching, get ready for to be here in the studio with me next week, and we're going to talk about he's a very faithful individual, so he's going to be talking about his faith. So we're going to learn about his religion and his business and what he's actually doing and what he's all about. And he's got a very, very interesting story of his view about life. So I think, in terms of, if I was a person who had to declare, I think you like the fact that the program's in English, and we will take account of the fact that ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਇੰਨੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ, ਉਹ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਕਰੀਏ. I will be doing some shows in Punjabi for you, not necessarily the Kam Johal Show, because this is a show that I truly believe is crossing over for communities. People from all walks and backgrounds watch the show. People that are interested in the Indian community from outside watch the show. Then, like Dipti said, that her first language is Gujarati in terms of her Indian language, but English is something that unites us all. So we're all about uniting people, not dividing. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to continue this show in the format that it's in, but we will be doing some specials for you. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ Punjabi show ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, Punjabi show, I think we should do it. There's enough people out there that are interested. So we will be announcing some special things for you guys, and there's a few extra new shows that we've got planned that we will be doing. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. बहुत ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ, ਸ਼ੁਕਰੀਆ. And to all the callers, I know it's not easy to call, and I know it's not always easy to get through, but we try our best, and this hour passes very, very quickly. So thank you for joining me today. Join me next week at 7 p.m, same time on KTV and channel 771 on Sky. I think we go out on YouTube and we go out on Facebook. So that's it for tonight. Have an incredible week until I see you next week. Take care and goodbye.